Hey guys.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
I'm F1shard.
I'm Mr. Dooves.
Mr. Dooves.
And we're the fellas from TriforceFilms.
So today we're going to kind of do a quick little video here of us just hanging out, playing some video games. I got Mr. Dooves here in town. Most of you probably don't know, but we live in separate cities, so today he's actually visiting, and we're going to kind of just sit down, play some games, and kind of give you guys a channel update and inform you about what's been going on, what our future plans are for the channel. And
yeah, we don't do a lot of sort of direct contact with our subscribers, so I think it'd be kind of nice to talk about sort of where the channel's been, where the channel might be going, and kind of open a dialogue and see what you guys think about this sort of thing as well.
Yeah, so today we're going to be playing a little bit of Turtles in Time on the Super NES. And while we do that, we're just going to kind of talk about the channel, talk about things. So let's kind of get going here.
Get this game up and running. It's been a while since I've played anything from the Super NES.
Not me. Since if you watch any of our videos, I do most of the game capturing. For the most part, the bulk of it. I guess you guys have done a bit, like for
there's
Contra
a few games,
and
Contra and Batman, where my friends and I in where I'm from end up doing the game capture, but 95% of the time Richard F1shard is in charge of capturing footage for the games, editing the footage, and he does the graphic design and basically all the visual components of the videos you guys see week to week. And mostly I'll end up doing all of the music and sort of the arrangements and composition production for the music side of things. So it's kind of a 50-50 split.
Right.
So you're officially being introduced to the way, who, and the why fors of TriforceFilms.
Who are you gonna pick?
I like Donatello.
And I'm going to be Leonardo.
I like Donatello. He's the nerdy one.
Leonardo's cool because he's got blue. Blue's an awesome color.
I always felt it was a bit of a contradiction, though.
And he's got swords.
He had swords, but he never ever got to stab anyone in his whole life.
Personality-wise, Leo's kind of, he's not the coolest of them all.
It's sort of the straight edge.
Straight edge, yeah. But he's...
I always found that to be a contradiction in terms is that the Turtles games and the show and the movies, they all had... It was based on an R-rated comic book. And then they never actually get to do anything R-rated in the cartoon or the movies or the games. They've got all these swords that are good for killing people, and they never ever get to stab anyone. I guess because they're fighting.
Right. Well, I get to slash them here.
Yeah.
In the video games, you actually get to attack, not throwing like sewer manholes at them and trying to like. What was it like in the Turtle movies? They were using like alternatives to weapons. Like they never actually got to use their weapons in like the second movie. Oh,
the second movie was the worst. The first movie was fun. They never actually stabbed anyone or killed anyone. Although I recently rewatched it, and they dump Shredder and do like a garbage compactor and squish him to death at the end.
It's been so long since I've
like
seen
a full-on murder in like a kind of a PG kids movie. It was a pretty dark movie. I liked the original Ninja Turtles movie. Yeah. Like 89 or something. It was a really good one. F1shard and I have actually known each other for probably 20 years now. And pretty much since we met in high school, like early high school, I think our first year in high school we met. And we've been making silly short films sort of ever since then.
Yeah, basically anything. Back like when it was... We were using like 2 VHS tapes and trying to like edit that way. Record, start, record.
Long before there was digital filmmaking alternatives, we were there at the beginning of trying to edit video and make short films, and there weren't easy ways of doing that. Like we had, and we were, the forefront of trying to figure out special effects. So we would do like early, what do they call it, like cut editing. I don't know. Anyway, there's different things that you can do with a very simple setup, like pause the camera when there's no one on screen, and then make sure you don't move the camera. So when you come in from the other side of the screen, or it looks like it looks like you teleported, or cut camera and then move something off or on screen. It's kind of a neat experience to be able to come at filmmaking from its infancy and try and figure it all out. Just sort of
we kind of tried everything out back in the day. Like we haven't always just done like the a cappella covers. That's what our kind of main focus is now. Is you'll do an a cappella cover of something, and then I'll get some video footage or gameplay and edit to your music track.
Yeah, but over the last 8 months, that's all we've been doing.
That's all we've been doing for the last 8 months. But prior to that, we did a lot of kind of weird stuff. We do like experimental like horror films and
sci-fi
action and
comedy. Yeah, the channel has undergone a lot of drastic changes. Like pretty much from the beginning of YouTube, I think 2007, 2008, we've been making short, like kind of silly, absurd short films, and only in the last 8 months did we sort of undergo a bit more of a change towards specific content and continuous.
Yeah, we kind of picked and stuck with something. Like you did a multi-track. How many years ago was like your first multi-track?
My first multi-track was in 2008.
Was it 2008?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking. We've got some stuff written here. If you occasionally see our eyes divert, it's because we're looking at our subject.
Some kind of points we want to cover.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's absolutely. With 2008 was the first time that I put together an a cappella multi-track.
And that's on the channel. It's like
still there.
Dig down. It's a 4-part multi-track. Like no video footage. It was just kind of an original, hey?
Yes, just a little tag, a little a cappella tag.
Right.
I'd only just recently. I used to tour full time with a professional a cappella group. Probably spent 5 years on the road with them, and that was sort of my first exposure, and I fell in love with a cappella and just sort of how fun it was to experiment with sounds using the human voice, and I fell in love with that right away. So the idea of being able to, and I had to do this a lot because we moved away from each other about 10 years ago, and so we were left with the ideas of having to, well, what can I do by myself?
Right.
I don't have any friends into filmmaking anymore, or they're really far away, and so between our times visiting and making projects together, we would try and figure out stuff to do on our own. And for me, that was figure out audio production and audio recording and multi-track a cappella, and so that's kind of become.
And then for me, like I kind of have my own little channel, F1shard, and I did some like tech stuff, and it hasn't been super active on. I haven't been super active on the channel, but I would kind of post stuff, tech reviews. I'm big into technology and stuff, like having like the newest tech computers and stuff. So you'll see videos like that or gaming related stuff on my channel. But there was never really the ability for us to collaborate. Like if we wanted to do like a little film project, it's always been like a hobby of ours. It's never been a full-time career. Mm-hmm. We never really went to school for like any filmmaking. It was always just something like passion that we had.
Yeah. And really, until about 8 months ago, we'd only managed to get a video out every few months.
Yeah, every few months. And I guess it started because you were free because you started going to school.
Yeah, well,
and
I mean, for the longest time,
you were touring. So.
Oh yeah, it was nice to finally have some time at home where I could be able to produce something, and so that was our first opportunity to make something major together, where normally we'd have to just do something on our own,
right.
Like whatever tech reviews. So probably 8 months ago, I think we decided to put together the evolution of video games.
Right, and you've been working on those tracks for quite a while. Like,
yeah, and I never even really knew
until it got edited into one big project.
Yeah, I think there was probably 3 or 4 months where we were just working on these things a little bit at a time until we actually managed to start piecing together the final project. And it was we couldn't have anticipated how successful that would be. I think we got 200,000 views in the first couple of days of the first week.
And yeah, we did not expect that. So it was awesome that we had that type of response to the video.
Well, I think that was also the first indication that this was something that was viable to do on a more full-time basis.
Well, and we were able to, like, that entire project, for the most part, was done remotely. So I live in a different city, but with like the internet capabilities now, we can transfer files between each other, and we can collab without having to be in the same city. Where him living in a different city kind of broke down on the ability of being able to put out content regularly. It would be something we'd
up until
just
like
whim try and put together on vacation or something.
Exactly. We always needed to be in the same place until 5 years ago something like this wouldn't have been possible. They just didn't have the internet speeds. we didn't have sort of the technology in place to be able to share video files and uncompressed audio back and forth. So, yeah, I mean, really everything sort of came to a head in the last year, where we kind of found out that this was something we could do, and ever since, you know, in the last 8 months, we put out 2 to 3 videos every single week.
Every week, yeah.
So now we're up to about 100 videos that we made just in the last year, and that's
which is awesome. We're super pumped about it. Which kind of gets us onto the thing. Like right now, we've got 2 series. We've got our video game acapellas that we kind of launch midweek at some point. And then every Saturday morning, we have our Saturday morning acapellas, where you cover a cartoon intro, and or not necessarily cartoon, but like a Saturday morning themed show.
These were both such natural extensions of our interests.
Yeah,
as well.
Like
it barely seems like we've had to work at all. Like it's like, oh, you know, I get to delve into the music of these awesome things that we've loved our whole lives, and you get to, you know, play games, put together sweet like video edits and stuff. It's
pretty awesome, and
it's not something that
we started doing the Saturday morning acapella series. Like it's kind of been an idea we had for a very long time, and it came from the fact that.
Oh, this level.
Okay, so we kind of got interrupted there. Sorry. Updates, computer updates. So we started the Saturday morning acapella series, and the main reason we started that is we had this idea a long time ago. Mainly based on the fact that for as long as I've known, Mr. Dooves here has got the most uncanny ability to just recite any type of Saturday morning cartoons theme song off the top of his head. It's like he knows every single thing by heart. And I'm like, dude, we've got to do that for acapella. Like, you've got to do acapella covers of that because you know everything already. It was always kind of like a game we would do, is try and stump him on a cartoon theme.
And there were a few where I feel like I probably could have done from memory, like these songs when your brain is at its spongiest, you know, as a kid, and you're watching TV. Like, I was raised watching television. I think a lot of us were. Like, video games, TV, these things are so ingrained, and so it was just such a natural extension of what our interests were that we barely had to think about it at all. Yeah. So it's amazing, like, that this is something we do and can, you know,
and like
receive, you know, recognition for doing. Is that all we're doing is just playing around. We're basically just kids again.
So it's kind of a fun, nostalgic trip back. We kind of get to play all these older games, some of the new stuff too. We kind of like to mix it up, but going with the Saturday morning cartoons, it's the Saturday morning acapella series. It's really neat, and finding some of the new stuff. Like, we get suggestions from people that couldn't believe that I haven't seen or heard of some of these shows. Like, I thought I've seen and heard of everything.
Oh man, we'll get whole like 10 requests in a row where we're like, oh, I'm out of the loop.
I was like, what? How did we miss that one? But yeah, we're loving the suggestions, so keep them coming.
Yeah, that's really that component is important.
Yeah, if you haven't seen your video yet, we definitely, like, or your suggestions yet, we've got a big list compiled of everything, so we kind of go through and we find out what's the most requested. Sometimes we just sneak in stuff that, you know, it's just super nostalgic on our purpose. We just want to do it.
It is a half and half sort of situation.
So sometimes we can't avoid it, where it's like, I'm like, Mr. Dooves, you have to do X-Men, the animated series, because I'm such an X-Men nut. So that one is like, you've got to do that request for me. But there's certain things where, yes, we definitely take your suggestions into account.
It's only a half and half thing. Luckily, the ones that we love the most have still gone over well. Yeah. Like, a lot of people will be like, no way, you remember this show? Like, and we're like, yeah, it was my favorite.
Some more obscure ones.
Yeah, we'll do like Mommy is Alive, and half the people are like, I don't know what this is, and other people are like, oh yeah, Bucky O'Hare. Samurai Pizza Cats. Nobody knew what that was.
Oh, and speaking of Samurai Pizza Cats, Volume 2?
Yeah, Volume 2.
So this kind of give an update about...
We would have probably just recently released a Volume 2 Saturday morning acapella for you guys, so...
And you kind of see that if you look at the icons and the theme to our videos, you can see that Mr. Dooves' shirt's now green. That's kind of starting the new Volume 3.
Chapters of...
But we assumed we were going to get Volume 2 out a lot sooner, but we kind of ran into some setbacks getting
there were
approved for Samurai Pizza Cats
of waiting.
Yeah. And because of that, that's it's delayed us a little bit.
It was probably because Samurai Pizza Cats is so rare.
It's so obscure and rare, yeah.
And that is one of the downsides, is that when you're dealing with cover music, if you're trying to put that out into the world and you know, sell it and make that available to other people, there's a whole lot of red tape to go through. Just sort of the
right, like there's, for every sale on the album, and thank you everybody that's ever purchased or contributed. That you guys are amazing.
Yeah,
part of that goes to like the original creators of the music, right?
Which is understandable.
Artists, so
just means that things take a little longer.
So for that, it gets approved, and we have to go through the approval process with.
By now everything should be through, and you guys should see on the channel that the second volume of Saturday Morning Acapella is available by the time this whole thing gets released anyway.
And we kind of keep on planning on doing as many of those as we can, and just keep pumping them out to Saturday Morning Acapellas. What about video games? There's been people asking about albums for video games.
Oh my gosh.
The technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's kind of a disaster. We've thought about doing an album for the video game covers that we've done. So releasing some of the favorites, or putting together like 20 of the most well-received tracks. I had a bit of a computer meltdown a few months ago where it's even hard to explain. So apparently, for a long time, for several months, the software that I use for editing has been storing all of my audio in one place, in one folder. And when I made the mistake of trying to organize things and move things around, all of those they all got...
They're all disorganized.
They were all disorganized because they're all in the same place.
Folder,
and the second that you move them, they have to kind of relink.
So each audio track is now mixed. So the audio track from one game is mixed with the other one.
Yeah, you'll hear bass lines from Mommy's Alive show up in the Turtles in Time session folder, and it's a disaster. So even for this last release of Saturday Morning Acapella Volume 2, I've had to painstakingly go through like old raw audio just to try and get everything relinked, and so hopefully we're able to go through some of our favorite video game tracks and get those lined up for you guys.
It's just going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah,
than we
definitely.
expected.
Although half the time people seem okay going back to YouTube, because there's a huge visual component, obviously, with our videos.
Right.
We do spend a lot of time trying to make the visuals as interesting and nostalgic as the music.
Yeah, we want it to be kind of like an experience as opposed to just the musical element. We want it to be just a full nostalgia trip of what you would experience when playing that game.
I mean, there are a lot of channels doing like acapella video games, and there's even a few doing acapella cartoons, but you'll see just attention to detail is something that we really try to stress. Like, we want the highest quality video that we can get. We want like the best sort of compilation of action that you can see, so we'll go to as many different levels and see as many different things as we can. And Richard sort of painstakingly puts together these montages and these video game edits that no other channel really bothers doing, because they'll just press play and just let it run, like let the demo go.
So yeah, that's kind of how we want to try and set ourselves apart a bit.
Just make it the ultimate nostalgic experience.
Right, and even your style of acapella is quite a bit different than other
oh yeah,
YouTubers, so.
I mean, you'll hear sort of, predominantly on YouTube, you're going to hear your classic, your college acapella, like your barbershop acapella with your, and that is also kind of an interesting issue, is that
it's more of like an acoustic acapella, right?
Yeah, you're pretty acoustic, pretty classic training sort of thing. Whereas with our style, is we're kind of going balls to the walls. We're trying to make it sound a bit more like the instruments, like the original experience. So I'll be utilizing effects like reverb and chorus and distortion effects to try and make, the vocals sound like a guitar, or kind of old school 8-bit MIDI tracks. and that does, I think, set us apart. It also kind of creates a bit of controversy when you're calling something a cappella.
Is it still a cappella?
Yeah.
If you use a reverb effect to it.
Exactly. When you put chorus and distortion and reverb and you make your voice sound a little bit less human, are you cheating? And that's that is.
If the only instrument is your voice, though, however, it's still a cappella.
Yeah, technically, a cappella is anything that doesn't use instruments.
Just not acoustic anymore.
Yeah, acoustic a cappella is a totally different term.
And I suppose it depends on the track too, right? Like some of them you don't need effects for because it doesn't suit the video as much or the original track.
But if we're doing like Power Rangers where they utilize electric guitars, or if we're, there's a lot of where we wouldn't be doing justice to the original or doing an accurate cover if we didn't utilize some effects. And then there's the controversy with auto-tuning. And I mean, I think there's a lot of misnomers going around with what auto-tune actually is. And we don't actually utilize any auto-tune in the channel, but when people hear a distortion effect, or when they hear
the IMT pain kind of
when people sometimes hear distortion or reverb or chorus effects, they'll think to themselves, this has been affected. Is that auto-tune? So that there's sort of that kind of maybe the unknown things about the industry and terminology. You got to select a character. Where are you?
I wasn't sure.
There you go. You're in front of Shredder's head.
I almost accidentally picked Raphael. That would have been bad.
That might be a nice segue, actually, that sort of the future of the channel and what we might be planning to do in the future.
So we've thought of a bunch of stuff, actually, kind of ideas what we want to do for future videos. I think the main thing is knowing that this is kind of something we do as a hobby. Like, we don't do this for, a full-time job.
Yeah, we're both quite busy in our real lives.
We have quite busy real lives, so we kind of have to balance and try and get out what we can, with it still kind of sticking to having our original 2 series. So we've got our video game acapellas and Saturday morning acapellas. Those kind of come first.
Yeah, and those will never change.
And then if there's other ideas of, you were talking about tunes with Dooves. Right?
Yeah, making tunes with Mr. Dooves is an idea I've sort of been toying with for a while. Now, I actually recently just finished school. Now I'm a certified audio engineer, so sort of, whereas before my knowledge was in its infancy about music production, now I think I may actually be able to put together a fairly informative sort of how-to behind-the-scenes making of kind of our process and what we both kind of go through in order to put together a video. And we've had a lot of requests on the channel in the comments to do something like that. People ask, okay, well, how do you get that effect, or how do you guys put all these videos together on one screen? And so I think that'll really open up a new opportunity to kind of explore our method and sort of educate as to how we achieve some of these things. And that's one of the best things about YouTube, is that there's almost nothing that you can't learn on YouTube now. It's like one of the best educational tools. And so when people come to us and they ask, hey, how do you do this? This is a great opportunity, knowing that people might actually benefit and be entertained.
Be able to make your own videos, right? Exactly. The same kind of thing. And we would probably do maybe a video. We could kind of show you our setups, what kind of equipment we're using. I know you started with just basic microphone and laptop when you first started recording multi-tracks.
Well, yeah, totally. There is an alternative. There's an option for everybody at every sort of pay scale of how much money you are willing to put into something like this.
Over time, our setups have kind of got a little crazy.
Yeah, it goes from
far more professional equipment.
Oh, exactly. You got consumer level and then the prosumer level, and now we're probably edging on professional level equipment. But it's there is an alternative for everybody, and that's kind of the nice thing, is that even we've done over 100 videos, and if you go back and sort of in the history of things, there's still some quality content without having spent any money getting there. So
right. This is tricky. Is it the elbow
I haven't
to throw?
I haven't figured out how to throw these.
You're supposed to throw them at shredder. You have to grab them. I still don't really know the button. Is it up and? Is it down?
Oh.
How did you do that?
I pressed down and then punched him.
It was just down and punching.
Boom. You gotta get in his business. Oh, there you go. Bye, Shredder.
I've just been button mashing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait, I want to...
I can't get him. Even though I did play a bunch of this for one of our videos, we did the sewer surfing that we already played past.
That's right.
Busy
we blew through that.
We blew through sewer surfing.
That's one of my favorite songs to do, actually. One of the best.
One of the classic Turtles in Time songs.
Check that out. So, should we address the elephant in the room? Smooth McGroove.
Smooth McGroove.
that should be got. We should get that out of the way.
What do you think of Smooth McGroove?
Well, I love Smooth McGroove.
I know, he's awesome.
I think he's really cool. There is this sort of weird, this predilection, this need on YouTube to compare things, and it sort of goes back to, you know, just fanboy mentality. You know, we've all been through it. When we were kids, you know, I had a Nintendo system and you had the PlayStation alternative, and we'd always be like, well, this is better, well, that is better, and
right.
I think the truth of it is that in these situations, choice is paramount, and if we didn't have the different alternatives, we wouldn't have been able to appreciate either as much.
And that wasn't our intention. When we did Evolution of Video Games, we didn't even know who Smooth McGroove was.
Not a clue. It was only no idea. It was only in the exposure that we got from Evolution of video games
that kind of inspired us, and the system that we kind of set up and to be able to edit that allowed us to continue on and making kind of weekly shows. Where prior to that, we did do a few a cappella collaborations, but it wasn't quite as simple back in the day.
And we did a Skyrim video in 2011.
Where I kind of went and edited some Skyrim footage to the Dragonborn Comes video.
Yep.
Right? Or
that one was really quite popular, actually.
It was a very popular song at the time.
And this was like the first time that we put video game footage to a song from a video game. And this was years before Smooth McGroove was even on the scene. So technically, we were one of the first to nail down that format.
Before that, we did a Minecraft kind of...
Yep, yeah, that was even like earlier in 2011.
And that was kind of a cover of a fellow, like another YouTuber, Victor Cepeda?
Yeah, Cepeda.
Yeah,
he hasn't
very
been,
talented guy.
He hasn't been active lately, which is too bad, because I was thinking collaborating with him would be a lot of fun now that we're doing this more often.
Speaking of collaborations, are we going to be doing some, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have successfully done 2 collaborations on the channel, and that's sort of some of the more fun that we have is when you get to sit down with another musician or another artist and you know, sort of work around each other's methods and learn together and grow together. And Doom 3 was a collaboration. We just put that out not too long ago, where we were able to. My friend Aaron from school was able to come in and do some electric guitar for us.
Very awesome.
And so that gave a whole different flavor to what we were doing, just trying to mix around sort of a bit more of a rock, you know, progressive situation. Beyond that, we did a collaborative with, almost on the other end of things, an electronic wind instrument with our buddy Soundole.
And if you haven't, check out his channel.
He's got some phenomenal video game covers, and he uses almost exclusively sort of an electronic clarinet. It's an EWI, and so you'd be crazy not to check that out, because it's very interesting, and he can get some really authentic video game sounds and music out of that. So. And we've got a lot of other
future collabs planned. They just take a while to do.
Oh man,
it's becoming a collab. Like, we already collabed together to create just one of our videos, so now we're bringing in other people or going and joining on with other people to do the video. So
we should have a collab within the next month already.
Yeah. Hopefully within the next little bit we'll have some more collaborations.
And we've got a few on the go, and I've been editing as we speak. I want that pizza. I messed up my button layout.
Is it backwards?
Yeah, well, I think these are the main buttons now, like B and Y.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just hitting everything. I figured out where jump and attack is, and we've been making it through here somehow.
It is a pretty forgiving game. I mean, we managed to whack our way through 5 or 6 levels here without really knowing what we're doing or trying very hard.
It's been so long. So
another thing that this kind of open forum, us chatting sort of with the subscribers and the viewer base, is that we can kind of open the table to new ideas and sort of discuss where we might go in the future.
Right. So like we said, we kind of want to stick with keeping our video game acapellas and our Saturday morning acapella series, but we could add other content when we do have the time, if time permits, in our busy daily lives. We've talked about TV series themes other than cartoons.
Well, and
it's been requested.
There have been definitely a handful of requests for shows that wouldn't qualify as Saturday morning cartoons or Saturday morning shows.
Right.
And there are so many, like some of the 80s and 90s TV show themes are so iconic. And I did the Game of Thrones theme at one point, probably a couple years ago, and that's received quite a few views, and people love that sort of thing. So to look at other TV shows as like kind of an alternative series, maybe it wouldn't be weekly, but something we could throw together. Maybe the Doctor Who theme or Knight Rider or the A-Team. There's so many classic 80s and 90s and even present shows that have great themes that wouldn't really necessarily work on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like a Monday release or something.
Yeah, totally.
If we can kind of squeeze that in there, try and balance it out throughout the week. But
we used to have, for 6 months straight, we had Monday releases. Just basically we'd tear little chunks of our evolution videos up.
We, for a while there, we kind of did some, with those evolution videos, we would go through and try and get as many videos done, and then
it was pretty which was nice because
mix of stuff that we already had on the channel, at least with the evolution of horror games. So we kind of broke them up and released them as singles afterwards.
It's allowed us to put out a lot of content in a short amount of time. This was one of the best games when it came to actually utilizing the different source material that they have from Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles?
Like you've got proper
totally
Baxter Stockman. Yeah, you've got proper all the enemies. The first Ninja Turtles video game was bonkers with like the weird ideas.
And we covered that one, hey?
Yeah, we did.
And, man, we got a bit of flack for that, for covering the original Ninja Turtles and not going with something like this. I think everyone loved the Turtles in Time, the beat 'em up, but the punishing original Ninja Turtles game, that it did still follow the cartoons in a way, hey? Like it still had Bebop and Rocksteady. It's just the generic bad guys. Well, you're fighting like fire monsters and like these weird kind of robots, and you kill them and their head would fly off. And
weird, yeah.
There was some pretty weird bad guys and stuff that didn't really fit.
Well, it was actually my understanding that the game was made before the cartoon was even out properly.
Oh, really?
Like think about the cover of the first NES
Nintendo
cartridge.
Red,
which was actually an image from the original comic book, not from the cartoon.
Right.
Yeah, so like they spearheaded all these Ninja Turtles things. I don't know if it was Mattel or someone owned it, and they were just like, this is gonna be big, let's just go balls to the walls, and they made like the cartoon and the video game and the toys all at once. And so they didn't have like material to go off of. They just had that comic material. So that's some interesting trivia. You guys are welcome to comment as well. Like we're looking for ideas for what we can do in the future, and so don't feel we've taken a lot of requests from you guys, and that's been invaluable to us. There's so many good ideas we've gotten for different cartoons to do, and our exposure is pretty limited. Like we're older fellas, we're in our early 30s. We don't know a lot of the newer, cooler games that are out there right now, or even sort of new TV shows. Like we would never have thought to do Teen Titans. We hadn't heard of that, but it ended up being one.
Heard of it? I just haven't really watched.
Hadn't watched it because you get older.
It's not something we did grow up with specifically.
Yeah, we're a little older, but it was one of.
We started checking it out afterwards. So
it's one of my favorite songs that we've done, or one of my favorite covers. It was, oh man, Game Over.
You're like ridiculously hard.
I thought, yeah.
What happened? Yeah.
So yeah, it's just if you guys have ideas for a series of shows that we could do, let us know. If you guys have ideas for video games, TV shows, cartoon theme songs.
If you like this kind of stuff, just like a channel update every few months kind of thing.
I guess we toyed with the ideas of the idea of doing Let's Plays, and that's sort of a saturated.
It's a tricky one. It's a saturated market, and we don't want to flood the channel with content no one wants to see. We want to try and keep it so that you're not getting bombarded by that stuff. We're here. It's a primary. We're sticking with a focus of a cappella music and doing kind of our niche geeky culture stuff kind of that way. And
but we're cool guys. You want to get to know us in a different way than music? That's totally something that we're up for. So if you guys are really enjoying this, us playing video games and just shooting the crap,
let us know.
Then that's something we're happy to do.
And leave your feedback. Give us suggestions on songs, tracks. If you don't see it, we've grabbed on a list. We'll eventually try and get to everything if we can.
We'll be doing this until we're 60 years old, I bet. There's so many different TV theme songs, and it would take us that long to get to everything. But we're committed. Like there's so many TV theme songs and cartoon theme songs and so many video games, and we feel like, oh my god, that's a great request, or oh man, we totally need to do that. We just did Dragon Ball Z, and it was like instant built-in controversy with what version of Dragon Ball Z theme song we were doing.
That's an interesting one, because when he's like, let's do Dragon Ball Z, he sends me a link, and I'm like, this isn't the song. I'm like, it's supposed to be Dragon Ball Z, and then like, what is this? This is completely different.
And I thought you were on drugs because I had never heard the version you were singing to me.
But we're both from Canada, and that's the Canadian version.
Yes.
So why you didn't see that?
Well, yeah, it's weird because if you watched it on TV in Canada, you would have heard that version.
That's where I watched it.
But I rented the tapes and got them online, so that means I saw usually the American version of the theme song, which is the Rock the Dragon theme. And then, of course, we have all our viewers from other countries saying, I prefer the Hispanic version, or where's the Japanese Sheila, Head Sheila, or whatever. And so it's like, right, dang, all of these versions are good.
They're all good.
What version of that song do we do?
That's something, too. If you make a suggestion, if you can actually copy like a link or something and put it in the comments of what the actual video is or the track of the song,
don't be afraid
that helps a lot.
Yeah, don't be afraid to send links. We'll just approve.
Know which one you guys want.
We know that sometimes the links you guys send in will get taken away for spam, but we'll just approve those. They'll come back on the channel
because we'll check every now and then to get
we will answer. We try to answer every comment that you guys leave. We try to respond to everything. Any idea that you guys have, even if it's criticism over what we've done or what we're gonna do or how you thought that was weird or oh my god, I love when you did that, do that. Please, just anything you guys want to do. Like the videos, comment on the videos. Be a part of this process, because that's kind of why we're doing this in particular, is that we want to open this up to everybody, and we want you to be a part of the growth of the channel and sort of direct us as to which way to go, and then everyone will end up getting something that they like or a component that they wanted included in our future and what we're going to do.
Yeah, well.
Follow us on Facebook.
That's kind of our main channel, our main page right now.
We're a little
up to date with us.
We're a little old school to figure out Twitter and all that business, and Instagram.
We'll try and get the Twitter going at some point.
The Twitter and the Instagram. We haven't figured that business out yet.
We're not the biggest social media guys, but
we'll see what we can do. But definitely Facebook is an easy way. Just TriforceFilms.
Facebook.
Subscribe to the channel, of course, if you haven't already. And you can kind of be a bigger part of what's happening and get updates on everything that we're doing week by week. You can suggest collaborations. Who knows? Just give us your feedback, and we would love to be a part of this. Hopefully in a month or two.
Subscribing and everybody.
Yeah, maybe we'll touch base again with you guys in a month or two. We'll do something like this. We don't get together very often, but we would love to kind of do this as often as we can and just try to play some games and chat and
Right. That's it.
It's been a slice.
It's been fun.
We'll see you guys Wednesday and Saturday, and whenever we put out videos. It's fun. See you guys soon.
See you guys.
Keep it real.
Did you use the right mic this time?
What an elaborate setup. It's a wonder it worked.
We need to like video of it.
Oh yeah. You guys have to see this if we're still recording. There's like, you guys have to see the elaborate setup that it takes to. What I'm gonna do, we'll edit this in, but I'm gonna take some phone footage of sort of the elaborate setup.
We're gonna do a quick behind the scenes. We have a plan.
Little double take of just like, how insane.
We're back. This is kind of. Let's do a quick look of what the Fishard setup right now.
There we go. Got the video rolling, so you guys can see both angles of this. But this is pretty elaborate. In order to do two webcams. We'll actually get more into detail about how this all works, by the way. This is Richard's kind of video editing suite, his headquarters.
This is
This is where the magic
Richard's
happens.
command center. It's kind of a disorganized mess because we're we've got this kind of stream thing set up, but
stream.
So
we had
we'll do kind of a more detailed setup at some point.
But yeah, like we would love to get into the details of how this all works for video editing and the steps that Richard goes through to get everything set up, and then we'll go to my studio for the music production. But even just this production is pretty elaborate. We've got the video capture for video games over there, and so that's capturing the audio from the video game and the video of us playing it. Down here we've kind of got our reminders, script reminders for what to talk about.
What we're talking about here today.
Here's our fancy USB microphone that kind of captures the audio of what we're doing. Up here we've got camera 1, which is over there. Camera 1, our favorite little webcam. We got a second webcam recording camera 2. And then who knows what else is... Oh, this is where we're capturing all of the actual footage.
Elgato game capture?
Yeah, the Elgato game captures, so... even what... This is probably as elaborate as we would ever need to get. But yeah, so if anyone's interested in these kind of live stream, webcam, multi-angle situations, it's this was not easy to set up, so it's kind of fun. So yeah, hopefully with the making of, you know, our channel making of series or the behind the scenes series, we'll be able to get more involved with the
depth, what kind of equipment you would need.
Yeah, and
especially on the recording audio and mixing multi-tracks and stuff.
I think that'll be there's a lot of information to get out to you guys. So if at all you're interested, let us know. Kind of again, if you have different topics regarding like, oh, how do you get all those video screens into one screen, or how do you get all the different audio, or what's that effect that you're using, or where do you get how do you edit your video game footage? Let us know what you kind of are looking for regarding of the future of our behind the scenes series, because that's something that we are definitely going to spearhead very soon. So hope that you found this entertaining and educational.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.